shorthanded. Tonight's matchup deciding the season series between the two teams as Lonzo Ball and the Pelicans look to bounce back, looking to keep their play-in tournament hopes alive. And we welcome you in to the Bally Sports Studio for this edition of Pelicans Live, brought to you by FanDuel. I am Katie Engelson. The Pelicans looking to keep their play-in tournament hopes alive after a disappointing loss to the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday, and now they welcome a Clippers team to town that's really firing on all cylinders, having won 11 of their last 12. Time now to welcome in David Wesley, who joins us live from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. And David, good to see you. You said post-game Saturday that you compared the backstretch of the season to climbing Mount Everest, which hey, seems like a pretty tough task. What do the Pelicans need to do to regroup and bounce back tonight against a Clippers team that's been playing pretty well despite being shorthanded?
Well, we've seen this year how this team can play at that level. They can play with the top teams when they come out and they approach this with the right energy and effort. And as long as they're coming with the right energy and effort, they're going to give themselves a chance. Now, of course, you can't turn the ball over, and you got to make smart plays. This team is going to look at a San Antonio team and say, that's how we beat them. These are the things that we need to do. Have the Pelicans, talking about their players, have they learned exactly what is necessary and what they need to do? Let's say when a team goes zone, they will see some zone, because zone lately has been effective. Early in the season, it was, the Pelicans were good. So far, as the season goes on, it seems like they've struggled a little bit more. So what are they going to do to counter that, and how are they going to find a way to win this game if it's close?
If the Pelicans want to win tonight, they've got to make some adjustments, and that includes limiting those mistakes, including free throws and turnovers, which were a major issue on Saturday. Let's revisit those numbers. The Pelicans ranked second to last in the league in free throw percentage, just ahead of the Thunder. And against the Spurs, the Pels were outscored at the free throw line by 10, shooting 17 of 32 from the charity stripe, their lowest this season. Turnovers also an issue. The Pels committed 19 on Saturday. David, not necessarily a recipe for success.
Well, unfortunately, the free throws are what they are. It's hard to change free throws and do something different. They're shooting a certain percentage for the year, and it's not going to change up or down much from here on in. But there's got to be a concentration. There's got to be, when you get a chance, get to the free throw line and practice and keep practicing, get a good feel. But as far as the turnovers go, we've seen them turn the ball over, in the low teens. We've seen them 9, 10, 11 turnovers, and that's where they have to be if they're going to give themselves a chance to win. They have to take care of the basketball, and unfortunately, last game, a lot of their turnovers were live ball turnovers. If they're throwing the ball out of bounds, that's a dead ball turnover. If they're throwing the ball to another guy, that's a live ball turnover, and those usually end up in layups, threes, and dunks.
Now, the Clippers are a team that don't necessarily force a lot of turnovers. How can the Pelicans take advantage of that tonight?
Well, it'll help them take care of the basketball, but the Pelicans need to force some turnovers. The Pelicans need to disrupt what they're comfortable doing. Talking about the Clippers, the Pelicans have got to make sure that they're seeing defenders, that they're seeing plays, that they're thinking singles, not home run plays, not throwing it over the top. If they allow this team to play passing lanes and just hand them the basketball, and especially a team that's good at steals, that's where you really get into trouble, because if you're throwing in passing lanes, they're deflecting, they're out, they're running, and now you're playing catch-up. You got to take care of the basketball tonight. It's going to be one of the most important stats of the night.
What do you anticipate happens tonight in terms of taking care of the basketball?
Well, I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll do much better than they did the last game. And again, you take the beginning of the year where they were turning it over a ton. Towards the middle of the year, they turned it over less. They really got really careful and really good at making sure how they take care of the basketball. And then they've had a couple of games late where they're back to where they were at the beginning of the season. So I believe they can. It's what kind of focus, what kind of thought process is going on out there with this team tonight.
Well, switching gears to the Clippers, Paul George, we should be seeing a heavy dose of him tonight, and he has been very instrumental for the Clippers, especially as of late, stepping up in the absence of Kawhi Leonard. What makes him so difficult to defend?
Well, one, he's long, he's got a great handle. He's shooting the ball from three in volume, and he's shooting it well. This team has 4 guys in the top 13 shooting three-point percentage. He's a good defender. He's long. He can get his hands on balls. He can go right into transition. He can pull up for the 3. He can get all the way to the basket. His game has really come along, and I think it's helped him to play alongside Kawhi Leonard. But his confidence and what he's capable of doing, if you don't make him uncomfortable, he could have a field night. It's going to be a tough game, but you see his numbers, and they're outstanding.
Now, the Clippers are the NBA's most accurate three-point shooting team. How much of a concern is three-point defense for the Pelicans?
Three-point defense has got to be excellent. Like I said, they got 4 guys that are top 13 in the league in three-point percentage. If you don't find these guys, it's going to be a monster night from 3. And this team can get hot, this team can get streaky, and it can make it really difficult. And if you're talking about the Pelicans who don't shoot the ball as well, you don't want to be, giving up 33, 36 points just on three-point shooting, and that be the difference. That's going to be a tough game to win.
Three-point defense will be key for the New Orleans Pelicans tonight against the Clippers. Yes. Well, coming up on the other side of the break, we are talking Kira Lewis Jr. The rookie shares with us his love for the game. This and more as we get you ready for tip-off.
A regular rookie. He's on time, in the gym, working on the same routine every single day. I don't know if he knows it, but I know it will definitely help him, especially in this league.
What my parents brought me up is be on time, be respectful of people's time, and just do it, whatever you do the best of your ability. So it's something that I've always been doing my whole life, so it's kind of like second nature.
With the 13th pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Kira Lewis Jr. from the University of Alabama.
It was a great feeling. It was kind of surreal. My heart started pounding. I didn't want to be one of the guys that fall down to do something crazy and everybody be looking on. But once it actually happened, it was kind of like a sigh of relief, so much excitement, and I was happy that I got chosen.
And taken away by Kira. He read that pass, didn't he, on the Euro all the way.
That's beautiful.
The point
Dance,
for
young
Kira
fella.
Lewis.
Dance, young fella.
He's really worked extremely hard in this process through camp, trying to understand terminology. He is defensive first guy. He's a pass first player, but he just does some things on the court that are special.
I love his mindset. I love his approach to the game. I just really love his mentality.
Kira on the run, and it'll be spiked away, but counted.
You know what I like about what Kira Lewis did? The young man didn't back down.
Right, he was right at him.
Right, he did not back down one bit.
But we always say, you got to have guys that have a little dog in them.
Kira is steadily improving and improving. As y'all see, like I said a couple games ago, Kira's going to go out there and, do what he can to help the team win.
Teresa Weatherspoon's done a terrific job with him, getting him acclimated to the NBA, and I really look forward to watching his growth as the season goes on.
But I really got to know what she was as a person, real energetic, one of those people that can uplift you by just making you smile. She likes to do what she does with a passion. It was easy going.
Finding Kira Lewis Jr. for 3. Got it!
Every single game that he comes out, he does something really, really good, and it's something better than the last game. He's learning the game, the league, and figuring out ways that he can be effective on the offensive and defensive end, and he's progressing every single game.
He stays even-keeled like he does on the basketball court. Nothing seems to rattle him day in and day out. And, we're looking forward to special things from the young Kira Lewis.
His future is really, really bright. He's got the whole package. He's got the speed and quickness. He can shoot the ball. He can pass the ball. And he's a great high-character guy that is only going to get better because he's committed to being better and he wants to be coached. Yeah, I'm really excited about his future.
Well, you heard it there from Pelicans head coach Stan Van Gundy on how excited he is for Kira's future. David, what excites you most about Kira's skill set?
Well, I think first I'd like to say that the fact that he comes from a good family, a good foundation, his basketball is built on a good foundation to build on. that's what you see out of him is just he started out and he's just kind of feeling his way. Now he's starting to test his limits. Now he's trying to see what he can do out there. But overall game, it's so solid that he has nowhere to go but up. And if he keeps that passion and keeps working on the things that he doesn't do as well, then he's going to keep climbing that ladder. But tremendous talent. You heard everything that everybody says. I agree with it 100%. This young man is going to be a really good pro for a long time. He starts with his defense. He likes to get other people involved by passing the ball, which means his teammates love to play with him. And then when he starts developing that three-point shot and getting that more consistent and getting consistent with what he's able to do, the sky's the limit. I love to watch him. I love when he gets out there, and just to watch him learn each and every night, that's fun for all of us.
You mentioned the sky being the limit. What does the future look like for Kyra with the Pelicans?
Well, I mean, it looks great. You know, we all see what he possesses out there on the floor. We see what he's capable of so far, and each and every year, if he could just build, you know, every good pro wants to come back with something they add to their game, and that's what he's going to do. Either he's going to shoot the ball better next year, or he's going to pass the ball better next year. Maybe his assists go up, maybe his shooting percentage goes up. Those things, because next year is when the game will start slowing down. He'll see things way before they happen, and that's what's going to be fun for him. Is if he loves basketball the way he says he does, it's when you start learning little tricks and nuances of the game. That's when it really gets fun, because you use more thought and more mind than you do actually playing the game as your physical attributes.
We heard Stan Van Gundy talk a little bit about it, but how instrumental has Teresa Weatherspoon been in terms of Kyra's growth?
Well, I think anytime you have a all-star caliber or a Hall of Fame caliber person in your camp, and not to mention a guard, I hope he's asking her all the questions. I hope he's trying to get all the information. Just, hey, let's go to dinner. Let's sit down. Let's sit over here on the bench. Let's watch film together. If he can just bring every ounce of knowledge out of her, it's only going to benefit him. And I think not only Kyra, but there's several players on this team already that look to her as that bug in their ear. That's something, hey, go out and work on this. Hey, if you do this way. And I think they love it. And you can see especially when Zion knocks down a 15-footer, he looks over at the bench. He wants her to know, like, yeah, well, I told you I was going to do it. And I think Kyra's the same way, and I think she's helping them so much. I would love to have somebody like that in my camp.
Well, switching gears to another player, Billy Hernan-Gomez getting his third start tonight. What impresses you most about his skill set?
Well, he's relentless. You know, he's got the right hook, he's got the left hook. He can post up, he can face up, he can put it on the floor for a couple of dribbles. He can also rebound the heck out of the basketball. He carves out spots and space, and he's a lot like Steven Adams in that respect. But again, his motor is good. He runs both ends of the floor. He fights and works on defense, especially in that pick and roll. So again, he's one of those guys that really helps his team when he comes off the bench with his energy and effort.
Well, we are moments away from tip-off as the Pelicans get ready to take on the Los Angeles Clippers. Coming up on the other side of the break, we will continue to get you ready for the game. It's Pelicans and Clippers on Bally Sports.
Opportunity to play. What players? Our old vet, that guy that'd be a
this
vet.
Is easy for me.
That you'll see him in the street now and you'll call him, hey, that's my vet. That's my vet. Who is that for you?
Avery. Easily for me. When I got traded from Vancouver to San Antonio, Avery was the starting point guard there. Obviously, I was a lottery pick from Vancouver, number 4 in the draft. A lot of expectation. And Avery really took me under his wing, which was kind of surprising to me because you usually don't get that when you're, as you know, when you're vying for the same position.
He's a good dude, though.
Right. No question.
Yeah.
So every road trip, he would take me to eat. Every single road trip. After shoot around, we would come back to the hotel, and he would take me somewhere to eat and just talk. And we were at two completely different areas of our lives, though.
Right.
You know, I was young and single. He was married with kids. But just the advice and what he would give to me every time we went out to eat. Then even when I left there, and we still continued to keep in touch. We still continued to talk a lot. Today, even today, like I've been retired for over a decade. Avery has been one coach of the year and all of these different kind of things. I still talk to him on a regular basis, you know, almost once a week, 2, 3, 4 times a month.
Wow.
You know, so that relationship extended far beyond our time in San Antonio. You know, and if we go a while and we don't talk, you know, I'll get a text message or a phone call from him. And now I'm at that same area in my life where he was when I was playing in San Antonio.
Right.
Where he's calling, not just checking on me, he's calling, he's checking on my wife, he's calling, he's checking on my children, my daughters, my son. And I have watched his kids grow into a young man and young women. Like it's amazing what that time in the NBA and the relationships. I'm a firm believer. There's nothing more important in life than our relationships.
Yeah.
Whether horizontal or vertical, there's nothing more important that we have in life than our relationships. I look at our relationship today.
Yeah.
You know, and all stemming from the different steps of our relationships, where we going through, and so on and so forth. And it all came from that orange basketball.
Yeah, it's big. And I got an Avery story. So when I was in Houston, of course I'm trying out. I'm there in the summer early, and I'm just working out. I'm on the other gym. I'm doing dribbling drills, and Avery's on the other end. And we all know a guy who's come up to you, and I didn't know who Avery was. This is in '92. Didn't know him from anybody. And we've all had the guy that comes up and says, yeah, you know, I tried out with this team and I did this and I did this, and, you know, I got a call back and they messed me over, and, you know, it was always somebody else's fault. So I'm on one end, he's on the other end. And again, I thought I was like one of the best pickup one-on-one players that in my head that existed.
You had to get that, make sure it's
in my head, yes.
Right.
And so while I'm down there doing my drills, you know, every now and then I'll stop and I'll look down there and watch him, and I realize, well, he can't shoot. Okay. So I'm wandering, walking by, and it's like, hey, you want to play some one-on-one? He said, yeah. So we get together, we start playing.
Cooks you.
Did he?
Cooks you.
I could not figure it out. And he knew how to get to his 15-foot and knock that thing down. I was so frustrated. But yes, he cooked me, and he told me about, you know, what he's doing with it. And I look up years later, and he's cooking. He's doing his thing, running for a championship.
Let me tell you a quick Avery story.
Yeah.
And mine is, I got so many Avery Johnson stories. And you know, he's a man of God. He is a man of God. And when I was in San Antonio, he lived in Houston. So many of us, we went to see, remember everybody used to play at the Houston Tennis Club.
Yeah.
So everybody used to go there, and everybody used to get it in. So we go there, and we all play, and we're leaving, and we're walking out. And Avery pulls up, and he has a new car. Black Mercedes. And, you know, Avery's not like the flashy type of dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mercedes, shining, had rims on it. So I fool with him every opportunity. It's still till today.
Of course.
I fool with him every opportunity I get. So I go up to him, and I'm kind of walking around his car, and I'm just looking at him, and he has that little Avery Johnson look.
Yeah, look at that. Look young
so
fella.
He's just looking, right, exactly. So he's looking, and we call him Six, because that was his number.
Right.
I'm like, man, Six, like, you doing it big, ain't you? And this is his words, verbatim. Yep, AD, and I'm still with Jesus. I have not laughed that hard as long, but that is a reflection of him and the relationship that we were discussing, you know, vertically and horizontally.
Right,
so that kind of encapsulate all that he truly is.
Yeah.
Love him.
Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Still
yep,
with Jesus.
that's right.
So mine is, again, Scott Brooks. And at the time, I did not know that. Well, one, we had the same agent. and we're both in camp together. I didn't know guarantees. You know, again, I'm just coming in the league. I didn't know what guarantees meant. I didn't know he was already a shoe-in because I'd already counted him out. I'm kicking his behind. I'm kicking Curtis Blair, who's now an official. He was in camp with me. And, you know, you got Kenny Smith and Akeem, and they're just running through and they're throwing the ball off the backboard, doing what, you know, not even trying. And so I'm doing the same thing. I'm following suit. And of course, Scott Brooks, we all know, he played one speed, one hard speed, and he's running through like it's game-like. I mean, form, everything's locked in. He's landing high on the, and I'm saying, why is he doing all that? Oh, he's trying to impress the coaches, man. Nobody needs, go ahead with all that. So after the layup line, he pulls me aside. Now, again, we got the same agent, but we also play in the same position.
Right.
And a lot of guys, they feel threatened.
Right.
And he wasn't, he was kind of that guy hanging on, and his effort and energy is what kept him around, and he could knock down shots. So I could have been a threat. I'm young, I'm coming in, you know, I'm athletic, and pulls me aside and he says, hey, you see all those guys over there? He's making $3 million. He's making $3.5 million. He's making $2 million. Those dudes got guaranteed contracts. You don't. He said, if you want to make this team, all that laughing and giggling, when you hit the floor, you need to come business ready to work. And I could have looked at him and thought, man, go ahead. But immediately it changed my whole perspective of my approach to the game. Now, I didn't make that Houston team, but best believe when I tried out with Jersey, when I tried out with Boston, anytime I was in that situation, I was now that guy. Even if I wasn't doing 90 to do a layup, I was making them all, and I was making sure that, and again, those little things, and I had great vets